This girl was making the bed when she discovered a strange hair on her husband's clothes. After comparing, she realized it was her hair, so she had no more doubts. But then she suddenly discovered a secret on her husband's computer. A series of sensitive videos appeared, causing her to quickly close her eyes. Marie quickly deleted the words about her husband on her personal blog. The exemplary man had now become a pervert. At this time, he was unaware of anything and was still working hard at the TV station. He looked very serious, but while chatting, he got closer and closer to a young girl. At this time, a person named Go-in called. It seemed like he had some problem that needed to be solved. Not long after, Nak-gu returned home. He was startled by his wife's eyes. Seeing her sarcastic attitude towards him, he asked her if she was at menopause. Marie then asked him if he was in puberty or something because his computer was full of obscene things. However, Nak-gu cleverly explained that it was all material for an upcoming program he was hosting. The topic of the program was about teenagers being addicted to porn. After that, the two continued to argue. Nak-gu felt that he could no longer live with Marie. He even thought that they were wrong from the beginning when they were together, so he asked for a divorce. Marie countered that he had said before that he could not live without her. Nak-gu replied that he was drunk at the time. A drunk man who said he loved her was only because they wanted to sleep with her. Marie was lost in her memories after hearing these words. Back then, when they were young, they were so excited when they kissed. But now, every time Marie looked at Nak-gu, she only felt disgust. After hearing her husband complain non-stop, she decided to divorce. Marie stood up and told her husband that she used to be a volleyball player. She then used her husband's head as a volleyball to hit him. That same day, Marie planned to go to the lawyer's office for divorce consultation. Just as Marie was about to enter, her mother found out and pulled her back home. Facing her mother's anger, she explained that it was just a consultation, but her mother still scolded her because she was worried that people would misunderstand if they saw it. Marie felt sad. She said that the current problem was not whether others saw it or not. She asked why her mother didn't ask her why she went there. Her mother asked her where she could find a good husband like Nak-gu. Marie's mother even said that without her, Marie would never have found such a good husband. Marie was very angry. She asked her mother whose side you were on. Were you really my biological mother? Seeing her mother praying, she told her mother that today was her birthday, but her mother didn't care much. It turned out that when Marie was little, her father had a car accident because he was in a hurry to go home to celebrate her birthday. Since then, Marie's birthday was also the anniversary of her father's death. From then on, her mother never celebrated her birthday again. Luckily, Marie had two good friends. They celebrated her birthday together. Because she was already 34 years old, the cake didn't have enough space to hold the candles. Just as Marie was about to blow out the candles, her two best friends sang a birthday song to wish her a happy birthday. Marie felt a little embarrassed, so she quickly blew out the candles. Her best friend asked Marie what she had just wished for. Marie replied that she had wished to kill someone. Her best friend thought she was joking. Marie then told her what had happened. She was about to get a divorce. Her husband had proposed a divorce. Moreover, he had said it in his dream. Jin-ae agreed to let Marie divorce immediately, but Hee-soo did not agree. Hee-soo thought that life was long, and Marie's husband was not a tycoon who could compensate her with a lot of money. With his ability, he would probably only have a few tens of millions at most, and that amount of money was not enough to rent a house for her. So Hee-soo suggested that Marie should take revenge on her husband by having an affair. However, Marie said that her husband was not having an affair. Hee-soo asked Marie if she was sure. Jin-ae advised everyone not to think too much and continue to hang out. When they arrived at the bar, Marie completely freed herself. She became the center of attention on the dance floor. Meanwhile, her husband was sweet-talking a woman named Go-eun. Marie got drunk and took a taxi home. Then she discovered that something seemed to be happening in the building opposite. Suddenly, she accidentally saw someone who looked like her husband running by. At this time, a woman ran up to talk to her. Marie felt a little suspicious because she seemed to have seen this woman somewhere before. Suddenly, the fireman came out and announced that it was all a misunderstanding. Everyone could go home. Watching the woman leave, Marie suddenly remembered that she was in the building across the street. She suspected that the man was her husband. Marie walked towards her house when her husband suddenly called her back. The more she thought about it, the more she felt something was wrong. She saw that her husband's clothes were disheveled. He even had his zipper undone. The next morning, Marie asked if Nak-gu had an affair, but he did not admit it. She said that she saw him coming out of the building across the street. He did not even have time to zip up his zipper. He angrily told her not to blame her. He angrily took out milk from the refrigerator to drink. She kindly reminded him that the milk had expired. He hurriedly ran to the mart sink to spit out the milk. She said that drinking a little wouldn't kill him. Hearing this, he became even angrier. He immediately gave her the milk carton and told her to drink it. At that moment, his phone rang, and she wanted to snatch it from him. They struggled, but he got his phone back. She wondered who had texted him so early. He didn't hide it and said it was from his girlfriend. They started arguing non-stop. Nak-gu saw Marie's reaction and thought she was jealous and that she still loved him. She immediately denied it. Nak-gu said that he felt disgusted when he looked at Marie. Seeing his misery, she unconsciously drank a mouthful of expired milk. Then she ran away and threw up the milk. She thought that love would expire like this milk carton. She turned around and proposed a divorce. Nak-gu was surprised. When Marie walked out of the lawyer's office, she muttered the words evidence and Pandora's box. Marie's lawyer had more than 40 years of experience in the profession. He felt that this was the first time he had met a customer like Marie. However, when the assistant questioned him, he did not explain in detail. At the same time, Marie called Jin-ae to seek help. Jin-ae encouraged Marie to just say her request. Jin-ae even joked that she would fulfill all of Marie's requests, except for murder. However, after Jin-ae heard heard what Mari said, she was extremely shocked. Jinna even asked Mari if she was crazy. When Mari returned home, she took binoculars and looked at the opposite building. She was sure that the woman in the opposite building was her husband's lover. It seemed that Mari was looking for evidence of her husband's adultery. While observing through binoculars, she suddenly witnessed a shocking scene. She wondered what the man was doing to the woman. She quickly went to the opposite building's floor to help. She did not forget to call for help. When the woman ran out, Mari asked if she was okay, but Mari was dragged away by the woman. Then the woman stopped and looked at Mari and burst out laughing. It turned out that Mari was in a hurry and had put on 2 different shoes. They went to a bar to chat. The young woman who came up was Go-in. It turned out that her husband suspected her of having an affair and beat her. Mari wanted to take this opportunity to ask if she knew Nakgu. Hearing this, Go-on immediately covered her mouth. She frankly admitted that she liked this man. Mari loudly said that this man was married. However, Go-on said that she felt fine. Go-on's boldness surprised Mari so much that she didn't know what to say. Mari quickly said that it was not good. Go-on explained that she didn't like Nakgu because he was married. She liked him for who he was. Hearing this, Mari burst out laughing sarcastically. Mari thought Go-on was young, so she was seduced by him. In fact, he was a crazy pervert. Go-on quickly covered her ears and said that she didn't want to listen. She even thought that Mari didn't understand anything about Nakgu. Hearing that, Mari sneered and said that she was his wife. However, Go-on smiled faintly and affirmed that she knew this. Then she continued to brazenly say that she wanted to continue liking Mari's husband because she was a fan of MC Nakgu. Mari felt both embarrassed and didn't know what to say. At this time, Go-on asked a very important question. If Mari hated her husband so much, why was she still living with him? Then, Mari took Go-on home. Go-on thanked her and hugged Mari. With a kind heart, Mari invited Go-on to her house to play. Mari also told Go-on that if anything happened, she should call me. Seeing Mari leave, Go-on thought to herself that this woman was really kind. At the same time, Nakgu arrived at the hotel. He put on lipstick in the elevator and went to a room. After looking around, he knocked on the door. Meanwhile, Mari went home to check Go-on's Instagram. She hoped to find new clues. Then she found out that Go-on had just posted a new post on Instagram. Mari immediately opened her eyes wide to take a closer look. It seemed like she had found evidence, so she decided to meet someone. Before that, Nakgu was still immersed in the feeling of happiness with the beauty. Go-on took a photo of herself checking in at the hotel room with him. This was the photo posted on her Instagram that Mari saw. Nakgu still didn't know that he was about to face a big scandal. He happily told Go-on the good news that his wife had agreed to divorce. However, the photos that Go-on took became a hot topic on Instagram. The TV station staff were all talking and arguing about who the man reflected in the hotel window was. At the same time, Nakgu's phone also received a threatening message. The other party demanded that he pay 100 million won, otherwise, more shocking information would be made public. While he was angry, he received even worse news. He was fired from the crew. Mari was on the subway. She saw a couple being affectionate with each other and felt uncomfortable. At this time, the phones of the other 2 people also vibrated. Mari was surprised when she found out that the other 2 people were already married. Then, she heard 2 other passengers talking about Nakgu. She opened her phone to check the news and smiled with satisfaction. At this time, Nakgu drove to the TV station. He was immediately surrounded by reporters. The reporters asked him if he was really having an affair. Unexpectedly, Nakgu also announced that he would be leaving the program he was in charge of and giving up everything he had. He also announced that he would be divorcing his wife soon. After saying that, he drove away. This interview immediately became a hot topic online. When Nakgu returned home, he knelt before Mari and begged her to agree to a divorce. He promised to fulfill any request she made. Mari immediately agreed. However, she immediately attacked her bastard husband, causing him to collapse. Mari went downstairs, where there were many reporters. She announced that she was Nakgu's wife. The reporters immediately surrounded her. Mari affirmed that she trusted her husband and said that she was not divorcing. Mari had previously confirmed through her Instagram photo that Go-un was her husband's lover. It turned out that she was the one who gave this information to the reporters. The threatening message demanding Nakgu to give her 100 million won was also sent by her best friend. Moreover, Mari did not meet with a divorce lawyer to get advice on divorce, but she wanted to find out how to absolutely not get a divorce. When the reporter asked why she did not divorce her cheating husband, she pretended to cry and said that she loved her husband until death. They had promised to be together until death did them part. The next morning, Nakgu angrily asked Mari why she made such a statement to the media. However, know that Mari was holding a kitchen knife. He was startled. Mari calmly wiped the knife and told him to go to the bathroom and come out to eat. While Nakgu was shaving, Mari suddenly pushed his head into the sink. He immediately struggled. While he was drying his hair, she took the electric cord and wrapped it around his neck several times. Then she tightened the cord so hard that his face turned red in pain. At this moment, she woke up and realized that it was all just her illusion. She silently told herself to be patient. Nakgu discovered Mari behind him and was startled to ask her what she was doing. Mari forced a smile and said that she did nothing. She just called him to eat. He was surprised by the sumptuous breakfast. He was afraid of being poisoned, so he decided to exchange porridge with her. Then Nakgu continued to question Mari's statement to the media, because it was clear that she had agreed to divorce him last time. She said that she had reconsidered. She said that she still loved him. At the same time, she used her fingers to form a heart to express her feelings for him. Nakgu felt disgusted. He frankly said that the person he loved was Go-un, but Mari did not care. She just told him to eat a lot because who knows, this could be his last meal. Suddenly, Naku realized that something was wrong. He found shrimp in the bowl, so he quickly got up to vomit. Then he found crab in the bowl. It turned out he was allergic to seafood. He quickly looked for medicine, but the allergy medicine was in Mari's hand, so they started a chase in the house. Naku picked up the broken bowl and threatened Mari. Just like that, a pillow was smashed. The medicine was also spilled. However, what followed was a tiring cleaning job. While Mari was cleaning, she discovered that someone had unlocked the house password and entered. The people who came mistook Mari for a maid. A middle-aged woman brought a newlywed couple to see the house. While they were talking, Mari discovered that her husband was planning to sell the house. Of course, she couldn't let him do this. Mari said that the house looked luxurious, but the feng shui was bad. This morning, the landlord and his wife had a fight. Chicken feathers were flying everywhere, so she had to clean up. She also pulled the wife to the window and pointed out that the view here was very good. A woman who lived in the house across the street walked around naked every day. Then Mari took out a small knife and performed a crazy performance. She proved to these people that the house's feng shui was not good. The whole group was scared and ran away. In a fit of anger, Mari threw a small knife and hit Naku's face in the photo. Meanwhile, Naku was still being treated for allergies. His radio station director even wanted him to resign because he had previously said in front of reporters that he loved his mistress. Naku got angry and said that people were too old-fashioned. Love is not a crime. At this time, Mari dressed up and went to the house of her husband's mistress, but Go-eun happily pulled Mari into the house. Mari said bluntly that Go-eun was married, but she was having an affair with a man who already had a wife and children. Mari didn't understand what she was thinking. Go-eun said that the man was not her husband. They had only lived together for a while. Go-eun also told Mari that I admired you very much, because Mari was able to meet and marry a good man like Naku. When Mari heard these words, she asked Go-eun if she really liked Naku. Go-eun immediately said that Naku was smart and funny. Besides, even though he was famous, he was not arrogant. Mari did not know what to say. Mari asked if Go-eun was waiting for them to divorce so she could marry Naku. Go-eun explained that she was a person who lived a life of non-marriage. Go-eun even told Mari to keep the marriage and that her love for Naku was enough. Mari was even more shocked when she heard these words. Go-eun also asked if they could live their own lives. She even told her about the day she first met Naku. That day, it was raining. Go-eun proposed to break up with her boyfriend, whom she lived with. Her boyfriend asked her if she was having an affair. She then ran outside and quickly hid in Naku's car to avoid her boyfriend. Naku was about to say something when he noticed that she was being followed by a man. At that moment, he felt a strong desire to protect and shelter this weak girl. Back in reality, Naku returned home and took out the divorce papers. He expressed his wish to sell the house to get the money and split it in half. But Mari said that she had one condition, which was that all the furniture in the house must be split in half. Naku looked at it and said there was no need. He decided to save it all for Mari. However, Mari shook her head and said that her personality could not bear being indebted to others. After saying that, she picked up the divorce papers and tore them in half in front of him. She also asked him if he wanted to split his body in half. He accidentally saw the small knife stuck in the photo and immediately screamed. Today was Naku's father's death anniversary. Mari said that Naku looked a lot like his father. She even jokingly suggested that they should hold a death anniversary for him. He said that no matter how much she threatened him, she couldn't change his mind about divorce. His mother heard and slapped him. She dared him to mention divorce again. Because Mari seemed to be very understanding, Naku's mother liked her very much. The two even hugged each other. His mother also told them to live in harmony. At this time, Naku went to his sister-in-law to ask about legal matters. However, his sister thought he was nothing more than a bastard. He was wrong and wanted to sue first. If he filed for divorce like this, it wouldn't be accepted. Only if Mari had an affair like him or abused him would he be able to file for divorce. Hearing this, Naku felt hopeful. However, Mari was not an easy person to deal with. She sought advice from a divorce lawyer. The lawyer said that a confession from her husband's lover would be the best evidence. It turned out that Mari had gone to Go-eun's house earlier to secretly record their conversation. That evening, Naku bought grilled food with the intention of going to Go-eun's house, but the person who took the elevator with him was Go-eun's boyfriend who was living with her. Naku immediately felt something was wrong. As soon as Go-eun opened the door, she saw her boyfriend and Naku there. She immediately shouted for Naku to run away. When Go-eun got home, he told Mari not to open the door. Mari went to check and saw Go-eun's boyfriend outside. Angry, she opened the door without hesitation. At the same time, Go-eun also ran over with a worried look. She was afraid that her boyfriend would beat the man she loved to death. Mari pushed Go-eun away in disgust. Go-eun's boyfriend couldn't find Naku, so Mari went forward and showed him the way. Naku had locked the door from the inside, so Go-eun's boyfriend couldn't open it. Mari immediately went forward and gave him the room key. Meanwhile, Naku was inside calling the police. Suddenly, the other man rushed in and beat him up. However, Naku also had a weapon in his hand, so he counterattacked. The two of them fought fiercely. Finally, all four of them arrived at the police station. The police started asking who started the fight first. Both of them pointed at each other. Naku insisted that he was the one who called the police because this person had broken into the house and attacked him. Therefore, he was only acting in self-defense. Go-eun's boyfriend angrily said that Naku was the one who touched his woman first. He couldn't control his anger and wanted to hit Naku again. Meanwhile, Go-eun hugged Naku because she was worried that he might get hurt. Seeing this, Mari pushed Go-eun away and said that this was her husband. Go-eun angrily told her boyfriend that she had broken up with him. Her boyfriend said that they were fine until Naku appeared. disappeared. At this point, the police officer couldn't take it anymore, but Nak-gu angrily grabbed Go-eun's boyfriend and said, "Why did you yell at my girlfriend like that?" The police officer threatened that if they didn't behave more politely, he would report this to their company. At the same time, he wanted to clarify their relationship. Go-eun insisted that she was Nak-gu's lover, but Mari said that she was Nak-gu's wife. The police officer had a headache after hearing this. At this time, Nak-gu stood up to clarify the cause of the incident. He announced that Go-eun had broken up with her boyfriend. He only visited Go-eun's house. Then he was chased to his house by Go-eun's ex-boyfriend. His wife was a witness to this incident. The police then realized that Mari was Nak-gu's family member. Hearing the police's words, Go-eun was very unhappy. Nak-gu comforted her and promised that he would divorce his wife immediately. Then he immediately hugged her. Mari really couldn't stand the two of them anymore, so she took her shoe and hit them on the head. This action stopped the lovers' play. When they got home, Mari ignored Nak-gu. Meanwhile, Nak-gu held binoculars and looked at Go-eun on the opposite side. He really wanted to quickly divorce so that he could live with Go-eun. He didn't know that Mari was standing behind him with an angry expression. She slowly approached her panicking husband. She forcefully pushed the bastard down. She then remembered that on the day she was hospitalized, her husband had a speeding ticket. That day, her husband did not take her to the hospital. She asked if it was because he rented a hotel room with his lover. She was so angry that she almost lost control and killed him. Nak-gu asked Mari to let him go so he could explain. She took out the speeding ticket. He immediately said that he was stuck in traffic that day and could not arrive on time. He was also very impatient at that time. He hoped that what had happened should not be brought up again. Mari did not believe that it was all like that. She then asked if he did not go to find Go-eun. Nak-gu swore that if he did, he would be punished by heaven. But then the heavens struck with thunder. Mari shoved the ticket in his face and told him to tell the truth. But Nak-gu had already torn the ticket in half. The next day, went out. Before leaving, she gave Nak-gu 24 hours to tell the truth. Otherwise, she would deal with him. He blamed her for not trusting him anymore. At this point in their relationship, she should agree to a divorce. However, she only said that the countdown had begun. Nak-gu did not feel any remorse for his sins. He then went to see lawyer Kang. This lawyer had a 100% divorce win rate over the past 18 years. Nak-gu expressed his desire to quickly divorce his wife so that he could live with his lover. Since he was the one at fault in the divorce, he wanted to know how to get the most benefit. Lawyer Kang laughed and said that someone who had been married 3 times like him had a way to make the other party at fault, even if they were not at fault. Then the lawyer called Nak-gu over and began to explain his plan. Meanwhile, Mari wanted to find Go-eun to ask about that day, but she met Go-eun's boyfriend. Her boyfriend said that she was not at home these days, but he was sure that on the night Mari was hospitalized, Go-eun and Nak-gu were together. Mari still couldn't believe that her husband was such a bastard. Go-eun's boyfriend still firmly affirmed what he said. Mari remembered that it was raining heavily that night. She was lying on the floor alone in pain and called her husband to ask why he hadn't come home yet. But on the other end of the line was Nak-gu's impatient voice. He said that he would be home in 5 minutes. However, he had said that several times there was no other way, so she could only try to go down the elevator by herself. At that moment, a black 4-seater car drove out from the opposite side. She wasn't sure if it was Nak-gu because she fell to the floor in pain. There was blood flowing down. On the way to the emergency room, she kept asking the doctor about her husband. Even on the operating table, she wanted to know where he was. Nak-gu didn't show up until the next day. Looking at Mari lying on the hospital bed, he only said he was late. He asked if she was okay. The memory was painful. At this time, Mari was sure that her husband had rented a room with Go-eun that night, and now Go-eun was hiding in a hotel waiting for Nak-gu. This time, he came to propose to her. He ignored everyone's gossip. Hearing this, Go-eun was so touched that she burst into tears. When Nak-gu returned from Go-eun's house, Mari pretended to be worried that he was hungry. She said that she wanted to prepare dinner for him. He stammered as if he wanted to say something, but before he could finish, she interrupted him. She said that the director had explained that he was with the director that day, but Nak-gu insisted that it was a lie. He said that he was with Go-eun that day, so he couldn't go home to take her to the hospital. Hearing that, Mari could only stand there and look at him. Nak-gu continued to explain that Go-eun had hit her knee that day and was bleeding a lot, so he had no choice. Mari couldn't take it anymore. His lover only had a knee injury, and his wife's life was in danger, but he didn't care about her at all. Nak-gu tried to provoke Mari. He insisted that he was telling the truth. Mari's heart was broken. Perhaps Nak-gu also felt that the situation was too much. He advised her to hit him hard, but when he was hit, he shouted loudly that his wife hit him. Mari still didn't realize what was going on. It turned out that it was Nak-gu's scheme. She slapped him again. He deliberately fell to the ground. She asked if he was an actor. As soon as this question was asked, his acting became even more exaggerated. He rolled on the ground and pretended to be in pain. However, at this moment, his phone fell out. She saw that the phone was still in recording mode. The two of them started to wrestle over the phone again. They rolled around on the floor several times. When they accidentally looked into each other's eyes, while Nak-gu was on top of Mari, he pushed her away in embarrassment. She painfully asked him to go out. He asked again if she had kicked him out. Then he showed an extremely happy expression. At this moment, she remembered the words of the divorce lawyer. The lawyer had reminded her of some important things to pay attention to. Among them was that no matter how much she hated him, she could not kick him out. Remembering this, she quickly crawled over to pull him back. Unfortunately, Nak-gu had already run out. The next day, Mari tried to pay with several cards, but was unsuccessful. It seemed that her husband had blocked her card. In her confusion, she received a call from her boyfriend, Go-eun. He had found Nak-gu and Go-eun's location. Satan. Surprisingly, the two were preparing to get married. At this time, the two were happily dancing in the car, unaware that Mari had caught up with them. It turned out that Go-eun had a tracking device. Nak-gu was driving when he heard a loud car horn from behind. When he looked in the rearview mirror, he was shocked by the scene. Behind him, Mari loudly asked him to stop the car. Go-eun was also scared when she saw this scene. She immediately urged Nak-gu to speed up. Tense chase took place on the street. Mari stepped on the gas to pass them and stopped them in the middle of the road. Nak-gu saw her standing there and disdainfully stepped on the gas to accelerate. However, Mari was not afraid. She even challenged him to stab her. Neither side wanted to give up. At the decisive moment, Mari dodged to the side. Nak-gu lost control of the car and the car flipped over. Nak-gu and Mari crawled out and walked towards each other. They both fell to the ground and lost consciousness. When Nak-gu woke up, he found himself lying on a hospital bed. His wife was on the bed next to him. In a state of panic, he saw her showing concern for him. He felt that this was definitely a dream. He closed his eyes and hoped that when he woke up, he would not have to face this situation. However, she leaned closer and almost kissed him. Fear made him move wildly. This made the wound hurt more. Mari helped Nak-gu put his feet back on the ground, but he was in great pain. Even though he was seriously injured, the first thing he thought about was his lover. He looked for his phone to call Go-eun, but he received a call from Go-eun first. When he answered, Mari grabbed the phone. Nak-gu asked where this was. Mari replied that this was a very remote and deserted hospital. There aren't many patients here, so if someone dies, no one will know. Nak-gu was very scared when he heard this. At this time, the police from the police station came to ask questions. Mari enthusiastically brought them drinks. She and Nak-gu both thought they were victims. While Nak-gu accused Mari of being the perpetrator, she acted very innocent and ignorant. The police officer thought the case was quite complicated. Nak-gu pointed at Mari and said that she drove behind him and intentionally hit his car twice in a row. Mari nodded in agreement. The police officer said that she was suspected of attempted murder. She looked pitiful. She said that she had a driver's license but hadn't driven much, so she wasn't used to it, so she accidentally hit his car. Mari's acting was really impressive and convincing. In the end, the police concluded that it was all just a misunderstanding and the incident was not serious. At this time, Mari took the opportunity to say that she was standing in the middle of the road and he deliberately drove straight towards her. Hearing this, Nak-gu felt scared. He quickly said that there was a dash cam and they could review it, but the police said that the dash cam was lost. Nak-gu was extremely angry. Mari calmly sent the police officer away. Then Mari decided to call Go-eun's boyfriend. It turned out that he had stolen the dash cam. Nak-gu lay on the bed and felt very uncomfortable. He had clearly only planned to go register his marriage with his lover, but now he had to stay here for 2 weeks. He thought of calling Go-eun, so he struggled to get the phone. When he saw the nurse come in, he immediately asked her for help. However, the nurse said that the IV needed to be finished first, so she asked him to be obedient. At this time, Mari turned back. The nurse praised Mari as a good wife because she was also injured, but still took good care of her husband. Mari said that she was only worried about her husband and hoped he would recover soon. Seeing Mari talking to the nurse, Nak-gu took the opportunity to write his phone number on a piece of paper. He then called the nurse over and asked her to prescribe some sleeping pills. He said that he couldn't sleep well because he was injured. Then he secretly put the paper in the nurse's pocket. This action made the nurse very curious. She opened the paper and shared it with her colleagues. They immediately thought that he was a pervert who liked to bother her. It turned out that Nak-gu wanted the nurse to call Go-eun, but the nurse thought that he was a harasser. That evening, Nak-gu saw a truck full of goods. He realized this was his chance to escape. He climbed into the truck bed, but just when he thought he had succeeded, he was discovered by the truck driver. As a result, he returned to the hospital. Mari still carefully wiped him and gave him medicine. She was also afraid that the light was too bright and would affect his sleep, so she wanted to help him turn off the light. He lay on the hospital bed and reminisced about the past. The first woman he loved was Mari. When he was young, they had a child together. He ran to his mother, who was running for office, and said that he wanted to marry Mari. He even struggled on the ground to force her to agree. He also said that crazy love was his motto. In this life, it was only because of love that he became crazy. After hearing this, Mari was a little touched. She turned her head to say a few sweet words to this hateful man, but he was already fast asleep. Actually, Mari did not know that his words had another meaning, that he had now found a new love. And this time, it was because of Go-eun that he went crazy. The next morning, Mari helped Nak-gu with his rehabilitation. The nurse called Mari to follow her. Nak-gu realized that this was a good opportunity to carry out his escape plan. He immediately limped to the reception desk and asked the staff to get him some water. He took the opportunity to call Go-eun on the landline. On the other end of the line, she worriedly asked where he was. She promised to come and rescue him. He advised her not to come here because everyone was on Mari's side. The people around pretended not to hear what he said. Mari walked over and accidentally got hit by his stick. She was angry and wanted to punch him, but because there were too many people, she couldn't do it. Nak-gu continued with his rehabilitation. When Nak-gu walked away, he found that his leg had completely recovered. Mari saw his stunned expression and thought he was in pain. He took this opportunity to pretend be in pain even more. He didn't want her to find out that his leg had recovered. The doctor examined him and confirmed that there was nothing serious, but Nak-gu insisted on prescribing sleeping pills for him, saying that the pain was so bad that he couldn't sleep. He was obviously up to something. At night, Mari gave him medicine. He also showed concern and told her to take the medicine. At night, Nak-gu woke up. It turned out that he had switched his sleeping pills with Mari's. He took advantage of her deep sleep to continue his escape plan. When Mari went outside, she found that Nak-gu had disappeared. He left his cane behind and ran away from the hospital. With a calm expression, he thought that he was finally free. When Mari discovered this, it was too late. Nakgu stopped a car and escaped Mari's pursuit. When Mari returned home, she received a package from Nakgu. Looking at that, Mari felt that something was wrong. At that moment, she discovered that Nakgu was speaking at a press conference on TV. Nakgu declared that he did not want to stay silent anymore. He decided to tell the whole truth. He claimed that he was a victim of domestic violence. He was actually very good at acting. He even released video evidence of Mari beating him. This immediately made Mari become a bad woman in the eyes of the public. Nakgu then hid at Go-eun's house. He enjoyed himself with his lover. Go-eun was heartbroken when she found out that he was beaten by his wife. He even pretended to be in pain all over to get her to care. Then the two happily chased each other around the house. Mari was on the opposite side with an angry expression. Nakgu then sent Mari a complaint. In it, he accused Mari of mistreating her husband and that she was paranoid. She even tried to kill him but failed. After reading the lawsuit, she was so angry that she went crazy. Mari knew that Nakgu was at Go-eun's house across the street, so she made a witch-like gesture to scare him. Nakgu tried to act calm. Mari went to the pharmacy to buy some things and realized that she was being gossiped about. It turned out that Nakgu's press conference last night had made her the center of public criticism. She became famous, but not in a positive way. She was scared and ran out. But on the street, she was still constantly criticized by people. The press conference also made her a hot topic on Instagram. Everyone sympathized with Nakgu, the poor husband. Meanwhile, Mari was labeled as a bad woman who made her gentle husband cheat. Some people even said that Mari was mentally ill. Meanwhile, Nakgu watched the news and laughed out loud. Mari hurriedly went to see a lawyer for advice. The lawyer said that the battle would now be based on evidence. Whoever is better prepared will have the advantage. Mari smiled because she had very good evidence, so she brought a bag of evidence to meet her lawyer. Meanwhile, Nakgu also prepared his evidence. He showed the evidence to the lawyer one by one, but the lawyer sighed because his evidence was not strong enough. Meanwhile, Mari presented a very thick stack of evidence. In the video, her car stopped on the side of the road and blocked Nakgu's car, and Nakgu intended to attack her. This was an unfavorable situation for him. On the contrary, Nakgu did not have such convincing evidence. The dash cam in his car was taken away. However, Nakgu's lawyer smiled slyly and took out a memory card. It turned out that there was a third car at that time. Nakgu was extremely surprised. The entire process of the accident was recorded by this car, so Nakgu was very happy. He immediately called Mari. He said that if she did not divorce, she should prepare to go to jail for attempted murder. After he said that, he felt extremely happy. Actually, Mari did not want a divorce because she still loved her husband. It was just that if she divorced, all the achievements she had worked hard to achieve in the past 10 years would be taken away. So Mari thought that if Nakgu had an accident, even if she did not divorce, she could still have everything from honor to property. So she decided to use an extreme method. She logged on to the website that a fortune teller had recommended. Next, she wrote Nakgu's name on it. This website was full of people who had the same aspirations as Mari. There were countless successful cases. That day, Mari went to a female celebrity. She successfully caused her husband to have an accident, and from there she was able to inherit his billion-dollar fortune. The actress asked Mari if she wanted to kill her husband. Mari's eyes showed hesitation and confusion, but the actress calmly said that everyone has to die. They are just helping that day come a little sooner. At this moment, Mari suddenly smiled. The actress asked Mari how much she understood her husband. She said that a car has 20,000 parts. If just 1 or 2 parts are missing, a major accident will happen. With these hidden words, Mari understood what she needed to do. So Mari went to her command center and started her plan. That day, Nakgu was at his lover's house when he received a call from Mari. He panicked and picked up the phone. He expected her answer to be a divorce. After they talked for a while, Nakgu returned home. Mari had been waiting for him for a long time. He was still a little afraid of her. He only dared to sit down when she spoke. She asked him if he had brought the seal. He did not dare believe that she had agreed to the divorce. She said that she had no other choice. She did not want to face jail. Actually, Nakgu was very agitated inside, but up to this moment, he still pretended to be kind in front of her. He asked if she had recovered. However, she had a condition for the divorce. Hearing this, he pretended to be kind again. He said that he would agree to whatever she said because he was mentally prepared to leave and leave everything to her. She asked how the house would be divided. Hearing this, Nakgu's expression immediately changed. He thought that since he had bought the house, there was no reason for him to share it with her. But in the end, under her pressure, he had to agree to divide the property in half. Then, he took out the divorce agreement. He still acted nice and seemed to hesitate a little. Actually, he was afraid that she was just pretending. He didn't expect that he had already signed the divorce agreement. At this moment, he was in tears because of emotion. But then she saw him leave, and he secretly showed his joy in the yard. He even danced excitedly in the rain. She had guessed this a long time ago. Seeing the happy appearance of him and his lover, she imagined the binoculars. As a rifle, she aimed it straight at the house opposite. However, Nakgu and Go-eun quickly left. He took her to try on wedding dresses. The wedding day also happened quickly. Mari followed, and she found the wedding location. She and her 2 best friends rushed there. The wedding was taking place with everyone's blessings when the lights suddenly flashed. Everyone looked at each other with strange eyes. The atmosphere became a little weird. At this moment, the door of the main hall opened. Go-eun looked at this scene in amazement. Mari and her close friends had arrived. The 3 of them rushed towards Nakgu. Bride Go-eun wanted to stop her, but she was pulled away by Mari's 2 close friends. The exploding fireworks fell on Mari, making her even more excited. Nakgu on the opposite side was so scared that he didn't know what to do. He only saw Mari throw the wooden stick into the air. At the same time, she did a somersault in the air. Under everyone's astonished eyes, she landed and caught the stick perfectly. Her strong momentum scared Nakgu, so he could only run behind the priest to hide. Goen wanted to go forward to save him, but she was held back by Mari's close friends. Nakgu's fans asked Mari why she was ruining someone else's wedding. Mari immediately announced that she was Nakgu's wife. Hearing this, everyone couldn't help but give way. The priest could not stand Nakgu's shamelessness. The priest grabbed Nakgu's neck and pushed him in front of Mari. Nakgu also desperately warned Mari not to go too far, but Mari just smiled and backed away. Just as Mari rushed towards Nakgu, the power went out in the church. The scene became chaotic. After a while, the lights came back on. Nakgu and his supporters were all dealt with. Nakgu was angry and wanted to go find Mari. Meanwhile, Mari and her two close friends happily left, but at this time, her car broke down. When they got out to check, they found a man also repairing his car. It seemed that he and Mari knew each other. Then the three of them hitched a ride with him. In the car, Mari's two close friends were curious about the relationship between her and the man. They thought that the two had feelings for each other. In order not to disturb the couple, they asked to get out of the car to give them some private space. Meanwhile, Nakgu and Goen were playing at the beach. Goen was very happy, while Nakgu was sitting alone, frowning and thinking. Goen felt strange, so she asked Nakgu what was wrong. Nakgu said that he wanted to go home. At this time, Mari was eating with the man who gave her a ride. It turned out that he was a reporter. Last time, Mari had given him information about her husband's affair. Now he wanted to get more information about Nakgu, so Mari invited him to have dinner with her. However, Mari did not know that her entire meal with the male reporter had been recorded by someone else. Nakgu was remembering what the divorce lawyer had said to him. He planned to go home early to find a way to deal with Ma. Right. When he got home, she threw him down on the bed. She used force to strangle him, but she didn't expect him to turn her around and control her. He also brutally attacked her. She picked up the stick next to her and hit him. The strong blow made him faint. She gasped for breath because she escaped death. Just as she was about to kill him, she was handcuffed again. She was momentarily dazed, but she woke up and realized it was just a dream. He had really returned. As soon as she got home, he scolded her for breaking her promise. She thought she was still in a dream, so she slapped him. Feeling quite happy, she continued to slap him. She even smelled his hand, but suddenly she felt something was wrong, and she realized that this smell couldn't be a dream. This ambiguous action also made him scared and stepped back. Then, he placed a stack of documents in front of her. She thought he had lost the divorce papers and wanted her to sign them again. She immediately said that she could sign them at any time, but even if she signed them 100 times, it would be useless if she didn't go to court. Mari's ridicule made Nakgu really angry. He started acting again, with red eyes, as if he was about to cry. He took out a photo from the file and accused her of having an affair. She didn't say anything and just took the photo. It turned out to be a scene where she went out to eat with a male reporter. Nakgu's acting was flawless. He looked hurt and asked her who the man in the photo was. She was surprised and asked if he was jealous. He continued acting and forced her to admit that she had an affair. At the same time, he blamed her for disrespecting him for doing such things. She didn't want to continue the drama with him anymore. She asked him directly what he wanted to do. He slammed the table and declared that he did not want a divorce anymore. He told them to live together until death. After saying that, he lay down on the sofa. She realized that this situation was not good. He was plotting to turn the tables. All of this was under his lawyer's guidance. He had bribed the male reporter in the beginning to secretly take photos of Mari. Mari also hurriedly asked for advice from her divorce lawyer. The lawyer said that her husband was trying to frame her. After collecting enough evidence, he would file for divorce. If she could not bear it and asked for a divorce first, she would fall into his trap. Mari went out and found that Nakgu had divided the house in half. He threatened that anyone who crossed the line would face the consequences. Mari did not believe it. She deliberately stepped on the dividing line and kept switching her feet left and right. He did not give in to her either. One of his feet stepped on her foot. She cried out in pain. He laughed happily, but she refused to give up. She counterattacked by kicking his shin. He fell onto the median. She intended to take the opportunity to step on him, but he quickly rolled over to avoid the kick. He returned home with the clear intention of chasing her away, so the two of them started a war. However, for her, this was also a good opportunity. Then he deliberately moved the median forward. She felt that he was very childish. She would definitely make him unable to bear it and move out first. At this time, Nakgu lay on the ground and told Mari to step on him, a strange request that Mari had never seen before. Then she thought of a good idea. She looked at the trophy and smiled meaningfully. Without saying much, she just threw the trophy straight at him. When she saw the trophy flying towards her, she screamed and caught it. Seeing his smug expression, she angrily threw the remaining trophies at him. He angrily picked up the trophy and threw it back. Unfortunately, the trophy hit her head. Not only was she in pain, but she was also bleeding. Mari angrily rushed forward and strangled Nakgu, so the two of them wrestled with each other. When both of them were so red that they couldn't stand it anymore, the doorbell suddenly rang. Nakgu escaped Mari's control and ran to open the door. It turned out that the person standing outside the door was Goen. She excitedly jumped up and hugged Nakgu. It turned out that Nakgu had sold half of this house to Goen, so she had the right to live here. Mari felt extremely frustrated and confused. Goen calmly said that she came here to protect her lover. She even told the three of them to love each other. After saying that, she happily clapped her hands. Mari was bored and didn't want to say anything more, and she returned to her room. She began to consider whether or not to eliminate both of them. At night, Nakgu sneaked into Mari's room to look for some papers, so he discovered Mari's battle plan. Luckily, luckily she discovered it in time. The two sides started to fight loudly and woke Go-eun up. At that moment, the doorbell suddenly rang. Everyone paused and looked at each other, feeling very uneasy. When they went to see, they found out that their daughter who had studied abroad had returned. Go-eun asked who was standing outside the door, but Naku was scared and quickly covered her mouth. Mari also immediately removed the dividing line on the floor and hid the battle plan. Go-eun was locked in the balcony. Meanwhile, Naku and Mari pretended to be happy with each other in front of their daughter. But at this moment, a scream came from the balcony. Mari deliberately raised her voice to wonder why the soundproofing on the upper floor was so bad. Naku also deliberately raised his voice to drown out Go-eun's voice. But Go-eun started counting down and was about to break the glass. Suji curiously walked over and pulled the balcony curtain open. She looked Go-eun up and down and then turned to look at her parents. She immediately understood the situation. Suji grabbed Go-eun's hair and pulled it hard. Suji had always been her mother's right-hand man. Mari and Naku seemed to disapprove of this action, but Mari secretly encouraged her daughter to be more forceful. However, Go-eun did not give up. She also grabbed Suji's hair. The two of them continued pulling each other's hair. After the two of them were separated, Suji still had a handful of Go-eun's hair in her hand. When Go-eun saw the amount of hair, she was angry and wanted to fight again, but she was stopped by Naku. He said that his daughter was still young. Go-eun was angry and wanted to call the police, but Suji was not afraid. Since Suji was only 15 years old, she certainly would not have any problems with the law. Go-eun cursed angrily. Naku told Go-eun to stop talking. She angrily asked if he was angry with her. In order not to make Go-eun even angrier, Naku advised his daughter to apologize to her. Suji also cried and blamed her father for making her apologize to a strange woman. Mari also scolded Naku for that. Go-eun showed that she did not like Suji, but Naku was worried and wanted to go see how his daughter was doing. Just like that, the family of three slept together. In the middle of the night, Suji got out of bed. Mari unconsciously hugged Naku. Naku also instinctively hugged Mari back. The next morning, Mari was awakened by a call from her mother. At the same time, she also discovered Naku lying on the bed. The two looked at each other and screamed in panic. When Mari went out and saw Go-eun looking, she deliberately adjusted her clothes. At this time, Mari's biological mother and mother-in-law arrived. As soon as they arrived, they immediately dealt with Naku for adultery. Go-eun saw the scene and asked why they treated her boyfriend like that. She also asked if they were responsible for his hair loss. Then Go-eun also understood the identities of these two old women. Naku's mother was completely furious. When she saw that her mother had calmed down, he dared to explain that he could no longer keep this marriage. His mother immediately hit him on the head, but he only shouted that if it weren't for Go-eun, he would die. He even knelt down and apologized to Mari's mother. He said that he could no longer love her daughter. As soon as he finished speaking, his biological mother hit him again. He angrily asked the two mothers how he could live with his ex-wife and girlfriend under the same roof. This time, his mother-in-law splashed water on his face. After that, they calmed down and talked. Mari still wants her two mothers to come back, and she insisted that she and her husband would resolve this themselves. But Naku proposed a vote. It seemed like everyone agreed with this idea, so Naku went to convince them one by one. First was his biological mother. He said that every mother in this world loves her child. He even acted spoiled to ask for her help. Next, Naku went to talk to Mari's mother. He used the excuse that Mari's mother borrowed money from him to get another person on his side. At this time, Go-eun asked Suji to stand on her side. Suji wondered what benefits she would get after her parents divorced. However, Go-eun showed a piece of paper to threaten Suji. Next, Go-eun and Mari confronted each other. Go-eun said that if the two no longer loved each other, they should let each other go. However, Mari's next words made Go-eun feel scared. Mari said that for her, divorce was the easiest answer, not the right answer. Then Mari moved closer to Go-eun, leaned in, and asked whether she would be buried with Naku if he were to pass away. Although Go-eun did not understand what it meant, she seemed scared. In the end, Suji announced the results on behalf of everyone. Up to this point, 3 people agreed to the divorce, and 2 were against it. When the last person's vote was about to be announced, Go-eun suddenly stood up and accused Suji of not studying abroad. Suji panicked and swallowed the evidence. It turned out that Suji only studied in Jeju. Then Mari's mother accidentally said that she borrowed money, making things even more chaotic. Therefore, both mothers agreed to the divorce because they felt it was too much trouble. Even Suji agreed to her parents' divorce. However, Go-eun decided to leave. Mari discovered that Go-eun had written on the ballot that she did not agree. Mari ran after Go-eun, and Naku also chased after Go-eun. However, Mari blocked Naku's way, so he used his strength to push her away to chase after his lover. Mari fell to the ground and she felt extremely heartbroken. At this time, it started to rain. Mari remembered that night when she had an accident. She really needed Naku to take her to the hospital, but at that time, he was happy with his lover. That day, she also fell in the rain like now. Then she painfully underwent surgery alone in the hospital. In the end, she had a miscarriage. Back in reality, Naku returned and blamed Mari. He thought that Mari had said something to Go-eun that made her want to break up with him. Naku lost Go-eun, and he lost all reason. He even warned Mari that if Go-eun did not come back to him, he would not let her live. She also responded to him with harsh words. She said that perhaps only when one of them died would everything end. From then on, Mari's eyes seemed to have lost their light. Then, Mari went to the fortune teller alone and asked her if the actress had killed the husband. At this time, she also saw something she shouldn't have seen. It was the yellow raincoat that the police were looking for. Mari's car had been repaired. The mechanic said that a screw had fallen off the car. Without it, the brakes would fail and an accident would happen. She remembered what the fortune teller had told her. A car has many parts parts. If just one or two small parts are missing, it could lead to a serious accident. Meanwhile, Nakgu was calling Go-eun, but she didn't pick up, so he threw the phone in anger. But right then, he received a call from his lawyer. He hurriedly went outside to answer the phone. Mari had brought the fortune teller's raincoat back. When she was about to touch the car, she received a call from the police. The police found the Dead Note website. The police suspected her of being related to the person who cursed Nakgu. At the same time, he also suspected that she was related to the female celebrity. Mari felt scared and was surprised by the questioning from the police. Nakgu's lawyer also took a picture of Mari coming to the police station. He immediately went there to inquire about the situation. Nakgu then reported to the radio station that there was important news. When he returned home, he found that the car that had disappeared for a long time had returned. Then, he also received a call from the TV station. The suspect was a person wearing a yellow raincoat. This person's name also appeared on the Dead Note website. Mari returned home and immediately deleted the post on the Dead Note website. Nakgu returned home and he discovered the yellow raincoat. Thinking of a series of events, he began to suspect Mari. Seeing that he had discovered her, she quickly snatched back the raincoat, but he pushed her down the balcony and locked the door. He then quickly called the police. Mari panicked and smashed the glass door with binoculars, scaring Nakgu to the point of immobility. He backed away and dropped the trophy on the ground. She picked it up and chased after him. While Nakgu was struggling, Mari knocked him unconscious. The trophy was stained with blood, but the call to the police was still on. Mari wondered how to solve this problem. Everything that had just happened was seen by Go-eun standing in the opposite building. Mari also discovered that Go-eun was looking at her. Go-eun seemed very scared and panicked. Mari was worried about what Go-eun would do next. Coincidentally, Jin-ae also accidentally killed her husband. Mari and Jin-ae were good friends, so they faced this difficult situation together. The two called Hisu to help transport the body to the prophetess for help. When the prophetess opened the trunk, what appeared was the body of Jin-ae's husband. Early the next morning, the ambulance arrived at Mari's house. The staff carried out a body covered in a white cloth. Suddenly, the white cloth slid down and revealed Nakgu's face. Everyone was shocked and screamed, but Nakgu secretly pulled the cloth back to cover his face. But he was immediately stopped by the ambulance staff. It turned out that he felt so ashamed that he just wanted to die. Finally, he was taken to the hospital. Meanwhile, the prophetess was discussing with everyone about where to bury the body. At this time, Nakgu screamed that he had a headache, dizziness, and nausea, but the doctor said that he only had a mild concussion and would be fine soon. The police also came. He felt very wronged. If he had attacked Mari, he would not have called the police. The police said that he only had a mild concussion. However, at the scene, they found a large amount of his wife's blood. Nakgu thought for a moment. He assumed that it was because she walked barefoot on the broken glass. The two police officers sneered. They didn't believe that anyone could be so stupid. Nakgu told them to ask Mari and they would know, but the police officer said that Mari was missing and her life was unknown while he was doing well here. Nakgu told them to look at the surveillance camera, but the police said that they only saw the two of them entering the building, not Mari leaving. Nakgu thought that if he continued talking, he might become a suspect in the murder of his wife. So, he decided to act a little pained. At this time, his mother also came to find him. Seeing that his head was wrapped in bandages, she was worried that her son had a mental problem. She even asked him if he remembered his name. Nakgu pretended to be silly, which made his mother even more scared. After she realized he was pretending, her mother felt relieved. Meanwhile, Mari and her best friend were looking for a place to dispose of the body. On the way, Jin-ae needed to go to the bathroom, so Mari had to stop the car on the side of the road. Just as they were relieving themselves, a police car passed by and spotted them, so they were forced to hold back and drive away. But at that moment, they discovered that the trunk was still making noise, so Hisu used a shovel to hit the man. Then they hurriedly drove away. The police car chased closely behind. At this time, Nakgu's mother was feeding him. However, Nakgu did not understand his mother's worries. He shook his head and refused to eat. His mother insisted on feeding him. Then, she also mentioned the matter with Go-eun. She told him that if she liked Go-eun so much, the two of them should be together. But Nakgu suddenly burst into tears. He said that Go-eun had gone missing. At this time, Mari's group was hiding on the side of the road. Fortunately, they escaped the police's pursuit. Mari also received a call from Nakgu, but Nakgu called Go-eun's name. It turned out that Mari was holding Go-eun's phone. Mari didn't hesitate and immediately hung up. Nakgu worriedly ran to Go-eun's house and searched everywhere for her, but couldn't find her. In desperation, he remembered what Go-eun had said to him. It turned out that Go-eun had been threatened by Mari the last time, so she asked to break up with Nakgu. At this time, Nakgu discovered suspicious bloodstains on the curtains. He suspected that his girlfriend's disappearance was related to his wife. Then he received a text message saying that Mari had just swiped her credit card. Mari waved her hand towards the camera, as if she was trying to lure Nakgu over. Go-eun's disappearance was indeed related to Mari. She also held Go-eun's phone up to the sky to get a better signal. Then she immediately turned it off. At this time, Nakgu was trying to locate Go-eun's phone, but he could only get a general idea of its location. Nakgu missed his lover so much that he looked towards her house on the opposite side. Through the binoculars, he seemed to see the beautiful moments of the two of them together. But now, all that was left was an empty space in his heart. Thinking of that, this bastard couldn't help but cry. Suddenly, he remembered something important. The police only saw Mari going upstairs through the surveillance camera, but not coming downstairs. So he suspected that she had escaped through the rooftop. He tried it and guessed that Mari had escaped through the building next door. He blamed the police for not being careful. He even asked them to send out a wanted notice for Mari. The police felt a little strange. He said that it should be a missing person report. but Nak-gu insisted that his wife must have done something bad, so she ran away that way. However, in the eyes of the police, this was just a small matter. Suddenly, Nak-gu realized that Go-eun's phone location matched Ma-ri's location. He was driving the car that Ma-ri had dealt with. Just then, an old man suddenly fell in front of his car, forcing him to brake suddenly. Nak-gu was about to argue with the old man when dozens of thugs came from the opposite direction. It turned out that the old man was the leader of a gang. A few of his subordinates were about to deal with Nak-gu, but fortunately, the leader honestly said that he had fallen by himself. Nak-gu was immediately overjoyed that he had escaped the dangerous situation. He kept bowing his head to apologize to the gangsters. Then he also felt strange when he looked at his car. He wondered why the brakes were so slow. He then went to the supermarket to ask everyone if they had seen Ma-ri. He was finally lucky enough to get her shopping list. He looked up and found a surveillance camera. At this time, Ma-ri's group was digging a hole to bury the body. The three women, who usually didn't work much, immediately felt exhausted. They lay down to rest. All of this was seen by Nak-gu. He thought that the person who was about to be buried was Go-eun, so he sneaked to the car and opened the trunk. A bloody hand suddenly covered his mouth. Ma-ri's group heard the noise and looked suspiciously at the car. The man in the trunk was not dead yet. He told Nak-gu not to make a sound. Nak-gu had not found his lover yet, but he couldn't bear to leave the man in the trunk. However, the man didn't want to leave. At this time, the three women had finished digging the hole, but Ma-ri still wanted to dig one more. Jin-ae curiously asked why. Ma-ri just said that the owner of the grave would appear soon. Hee-soo said that she also wanted to dig a hole. It seemed that the three women wanted to bury their husbands. Meanwhile, Nak-gu still tried to save the man. However, he was bitten by the other party. He screamed in pain and quickly ran away. Ma-ri and her two friends rushed over and carried the man out of the trunk, but the man suddenly woke up and knelt down to beg for his life. He then took the opportunity to run away. However, he was eventually caught. Just like that, he was buried in the ground with only his head exposed. The man begged his wife to spare him. In the reeds, Nak-gu recorded this horrifying scene. He intended to send the evidence to the police station, but unfortunately, there was no signal. It turned out that Ma-ri had intentionally turned on the location on Go-eun's phone, but until now, Nak-gu still hasn't appeared, so she feels a bit strange. While the hole had already been dug for him, at this time, they discovered a light coming from afar, so they all turned off their lights in fear. At that moment, Nak-gu suddenly attacked Ma-ri. However, he was kicked by Ma-ri's friend and fell into the dug hole. The owner of this light was Hee-soo's husband. He was hugging Hee-soo when Ma-ri and Jin-ae also pushed him into the hole. They were thinking about who to bury first. At this moment, a convoy suddenly appeared. They hurriedly looked for a place to hide. It turned out to be the leader of the gang from before. He came here because Jin-ae's husband's friend had cheated him of his money, so Nak-gu was saved from this dangerous situation. He quickly left quietly. Meanwhile, the old man also discovered Ma-ri hiding in the reeds. Ma-ri's group immediately ran to Hee-soo's villa. When they entered the room, they were startled to see a man holding a gun and pointing it at them. The two sides began to fight for the gun. Suddenly, the lights turned on and a gunshot rang out. Nak-gu, who was hiding by the window, saw this scene and was extremely frightened. He fell to the ground and covered his mouth to keep from making a sound. At the same time, the gangsters outside also heard the gunshots, so they ran away together. Thanks to that, Jin-ae's husband had a chance to escape. Nak-gu was also scared and ran away. At this moment, the police siren blared loudly outside the house. Ma-ri's group looked outside and were extremely scared. It turned out that Nak-gu had called the police. He even took the police car's microphone to talk. The police were annoyed and grabbed the microphone. Nak-gu described the scene and asked the police to take out their guns. He accused the people inside the house of being a bunch of vicious criminals, so he warned them to be careful. However, when faced with the police's questioning, Ma-ri and her two friends only acted innocent. Nak-gu immediately rushed into the house to find the body. Then he recreated the situation he saw from the window. Jin-ae cleverly pretended to ask Ma-ri if her husband forgot to take his medicine again. However, Nak-gu still insisted that they had killed someone. At this time, Hee-soo's husband appeared. Nak-gu was surprised and asked why he wasn't dead yet, so the police had to leave. They secretly thought that this person must have a problem. However, Nak-gu didn't give up. He kept chasing the police car to report Ma-ri. While Ma-ri and the others just smiled at him, Nak-gu thought that Go-eun might be hidden in the house, so he took the initiative to carry Jin-ae's husband into the house. Whenever he had the chance, Nak-gu secretly searched for Go-eun room by room, but he didn't expect that Hee-soo's husband would find him, so he had to leave in embarrassment. At dinner time, Nak-gu wanted to call Go-eun, but he found that there was no signal. He was worried because he couldn't call her. Ma-ri looked at him fiercely. He was scared and suddenly pulled his phone away. Nak-gu looked at the dinner in his bowl and didn't dare to eat it. He almost died because he ate the seafood porridge Ma-ri cooked. At night, when everyone was sleeping, Ma-ri discovered a noise upstairs. It turned out that Nak-gu was still looking for Go-eun. Meanwhile, Ma-ri thought there were rats upstairs, so she went upstairs. When the two met, they were immediately stunned. Nak-gu raised his gun and pointed it at Ma-ri. He also said that this was a legitimate act of self-defense. He had a lot of evidence that she wanted to harm him. However, Ma-ri was not afraid. She grabbed the gun and told Nak-gu to shoot her. Nak-gu lowered the gun and said that he would spare Ma-ri if she told him where Go-eun was. However, when Nak-gu saw Ma-ri's angry eyes, he immediately asked if she had killed Go-eun. Ma-ri asked Nak-gu what if it was true. Seeing him lose his temper, she took the opportunity to grab the gun from his hand. She pinned him to the wall. However, he pushed her down, causing her mouth to bleed. It turned out that he was not incapable of fighting her. It was just that he had always given in to her before, but she was not someone who could be defeated easily. She asserted that if she wanted to kill him, she could have done it a long time ago. She had the chance to kill him when she chased him in the car, when she slept in the hospital, and when she knocked him out at home. Nakgu was curious about that. Mari said that she still kept their marriage vow that they would be together forever until death. Nakgu realized that Mari still loved him, so she did not let go. However, he told her frankly that even if he died, he could not live with her anymore. Hearing these words, she was heartbroken and cried. She wanted to get closer to him, but he raised his gun to prevent her from getting closer. Surprisingly, he actually shot. Obviously, there were no bullets in the gun. Although she was not dead, her heart seemed to have stopped beating. The last bit of hope she had for this man also disappeared. The next morning, her two best friends could not find Mari. Then Mari appeared with a bouquet of flowers in her hand and a bright smile. It turned out that she had met a prophetess who specialized in revenge for women. At this time, received news from Go-eun. He hurriedly set out to find her. The car that Mari had influenced finally had an accident. However, Nakgu was fine, and he even reached his destination. Mari's plan had failed. However, Nakgu was about to participate in another plan of Mari. Nakgu checked the location and realized that he was not far from Go-eun anymore. Of course, Go-eun's phone was in Mari's hand. Surprisingly, Go-eun also happened to appear at this place. She was approaching Mari's group. The fortune teller was selling yellow raincoats to Go-eun. She reminded that Go-eun could not cross the bridge today because there was a construction repair sign placed there. Mari and the fortune teller's plan was about to begin. At this time, Nakgu had arrived at the designated location. He saw a person in front of the bridge and thought it was Go-eun. He did not know that it was actually Mari. When he crossed the bridge, he almost slipped and fell into the part of the bridge that did not have wooden planks. At this time, the person who took off the yellow raincoat was Mari. Only then did Nakgu realize that Mari was holding Go-eun's phone. Mari had deliberately led him astray. Mari did not expect that he would fall into the trap so easily. She also realized that Nakgu would risk his life for Go-eun. Nakgu even said that even if he had to sacrifice his life for Go-eun, he would not feel any regret. That was true love. But Mari could not bear to listen to these words because in the past, she had also been tempted by similar words. Mari desperately asked if they really had to divorce. Nakgu thought that he was right. He thought that other people's divorces were simple and easy. Why did Mari have to torment both of them like this? Actually, Mari had her own reasons for not divorcing, because in her world, divorcing meant death. So she made herself suffer. She was determined not to divorce because she was afraid that she would kill him. Nakgu still insisted that he would divorce. Mari did not say much. She just walked closer to him step by step. Nakgu was scared and backed away. Suddenly, he stepped on the part of the bridge without a plank and fell down. Luckily, he had one hand holding the plank. In a panic, he promised not to mention the divorce again and begged Mari to save him. She looked at him with her big eyes filled with tears. She was not sure if she wanted to save him or not. She reached out her hand. However, he still fell into the river. Go-eun stood at the head of the bridge and witnessed the scene. She panicked and called the police. Meanwhile, Mari and the prophetess quickly got on a motorbike and left. They destroyed all the tools of the crime. The prophetess reminded Mari to prepare herself for police questioning. They must not be afraid. As soon as she finished speaking, the police called to inform her of Nakgu's death. They had launched a search and rescue operation near the bridge where the incident occurred. However, the operation had to end due to lack of progress. Rumors about the murder case also appeared on social media. Therefore, Mari was summoned to the police station for questioning. The police asked her about her alibi. Rai replied that she was with her two close friends at the time. At that time, the TV news reported about Nakgu's accident. There was a witness who said that a person wearing a yellow raincoat pushed Nakgu down. The incident was determined to be a murder. Mari recognized this witness as Go-eun. As soon as the information was released, a series of denunciation calls poured in. People wearing yellow raincoats were seen all over the country. It turned out that the prophetess had previously given out free yellow raincoats to disrupt the police investigation. Mari also called to thank her two close friends for providing an alibi. At this time, she arrived downstairs at Go-en's house. When Go-en saw Mari, she immediately closed the door, but Mari blocked the door and went inside. Go-en stopped Mari from speaking first because she had something to say first. Go-eun said she saw something. Mari wasn't scared and asked what she saw. Go-eun replied that she saw Mari wanting to kill Nakgu. It turned out that Go-eun was looking for her phone that day, so she accidentally saw Mari knocking Nakgu out with a cup. When Go-eun was discovered by Mari, she panicked and broke the flower pot. Then she accidentally injured her hand, and her bleeding hand accidentally got on the curtain. When Nakgu saw the blood, he thought that Go-eun had been eliminated, but Mari wasn't scared at all because it was so foggy that day. Go-eun couldn't see clearly who the person in the yellow raincoat was. Mari was curious why Go-eun was at the crime scene that day. It turned out that it was her and Nakgu's secret rendezvous. Mari could only feel helpless when Go-eun calmly told her that. Go-eun continued that she noticed that someone had used her Instagram account to post that day. She was worried that Nakgu would misunderstand that she was the one who posted it, so she went to find him. She then cried and accused Mari of wanting to harm them. Mari came here with a clear purpose. She stood up and approached Go-eun. Mari asked Go-eun, "What should I do with you?" This question made Go-eun extremely scared. Earlier, Mari had said that if Nakgu died, Go-eun would have to be buried with him. Go-eun asked Mari what she meant by that. Mari asked if Go-eun's generation didn't learn Chinese characters. Finally, Mari to explain to Go-eun that it means dying with the dead. She swore that she would let the two of them be together. Go-eun was extremely scared when she heard this. That day, the police summoned Mari to the police station. Police pointed out that after the actress's husband died suddenly, Mari met her several times. This inevitably led to suspicions that Mari had a motive for the crime. crime. The police also pointed out the common features in the deaths of the two husbands. At the scene of both cases, yellow raincoats were found. Marie and the actress were both listed in the death registers of their husbands. Both their husbands were members of the fortune-telling forum. Therefore, the police could not help but suspect that the deaths of the two husbands were planned by someone. The police also said that the fortune teller had a criminal record for murder, which made things even more suspicious. When Marie left the police station, she discovered that the fortune teller was also being escorted there. While the police were investigating the case, Go-eun was live streaming at Nak-gu's memorial. She announced that her lover was Nak-gu. At this time, Marie had returned home and also watched Go-eun's live stream. She walked out in disgust, without noticing a suspicious comment in the live stream that read, "I love you too, my blue bird." At this time, Marie opened the door and saw a male reporter she had worked with before. The male reporter said that Marie's daughter was being bullied online and isolated at school. Marie was worried about her daughter, so she wanted to pick her up, but she was surrounded by Nak-gu's fans and even beaten up. After this incident, Marie could no longer bear the mental pressure. She even let the reporter record her confession about everything. She admitted that Nak-gu falling off the bridge was part of her revenge plan. She used Go-eun's phone to lure him to the suspension bridge, where there was a hole. After confessing, Marie even wore a yellow raincoat to the police station. She proactively held out her hands for the police to handcuff her. But at this time, the police heard a phone call. It turned out that Nak-gu had left a will. At the funeral, the mother held her son's portrait and cried. Then she suddenly walked towards Marie. She blamed Marie for being heartless. Nak-gu died without shedding a single tear. At this time, an uninvited guest arrived outside the funeral. He walked in front of Marie. She was so surprised that she dropped the portrait in her hand. It turned out that Nak-gu was not dead. Marie immediately burst into tears. Marie's cry startled Nak-gu's mother. She was scared and stepped back, thinking that her son's ghost had returned. Nak-gu was about to hug his mother when he was suddenly slapped by his mother. When she saw that he was in pain, she happily hugged him. He even said that he would wait for his mother to die before he died. It turned out that after Nak-gu fell into the river and lost consciousness, he was rescued by a group of illegal immigrants. During this time, he was extremely happy when he saw the news that Marie was summoned to the police station. But when he saw Go-eun on TV, he missed her so much that he cried. Until he saw his will, he could no longer hide. Things had gotten out of control, so he had no choice but to return. Nak-gu looked at Marie with a smug expression. He asked her if she was disappointed to see him come back alive. However, her answer surprised him greatly. In fact, she was crying because she was so happy to see him alive. She also had something to say to him. He felt that she was not used to her attitude. He coldly asked what she wanted to talk about. She crawled towards him, but he kept backing away. She looked at him with affection and asked for a divorce. However, he felt that something was wrong. He said that he no longer wanted a divorce. He pointed at her face and said that she almost became a murderer. Luckily, he appeared in time, so she only committed attempted murder. She confidently said that he had no evidence, but he laughed slyly. Today, Nak-gu appeared on TV again. He started his realistic acting again. He pretended to hold back his emotions while recounting how he fell into the water. He said that he remembered the person in the yellow raincoat. The host asked about the identity of that person. He looked heartbroken again and said that he didn't want to mention it directly. The host had to change the question. Actually, he was trying to get his emotions back. He started sobbing and said that he couldn't forget that face. He looked at the screen and said that the person who pushed him into the river was his wife. This shocked everyone in the studio and in front of the TV screen. Marie held her head and was very angry. She shook her hand and pointed at Nak-gu on TV and swore. Meanwhile, Nak-gu accused Marie of attempted murder. She immediately tried to contact him. Nak-gu took a break and went to the restroom. Only then did he receive her phone call. She immediately began to speak harshly to him. He said that people would not believe the truth, but only what they wanted to believe. They would believe him because he was a celebrity. He also said that the wife wanting to kill her husband was a much more dramatic scenario than the boring truth. Marie angrily declared that she would reveal the truth. Nak-gu said that it was so foggy that day that no one could see each other clearly. At this time, someone knocked on the restroom door. Strangely, the TV host also heard the knocking. Marie's TV also made a knocking sound. When Nak-gu opened the restroom door, he saw the director crying. It turned out that Nak-gu's microphone was still on. He could only helplessly scream. Perhaps Nak-gu was in a difficult situation. The host looked at the camera and said that everyone in the country probably heard the truth from Nak-gu. At home, Marie laughed until her stomach hurt because of this situation. The next day, a group of reporters gathered downstairs in the apartment building. Nak-gu didn't dare to go out. Go-eun angrily told him to go explain to the reporters. However, he didn't dare to go because that would only make things worse. At this time, he received a text message from Marie. He saw her holding something up in the opposite court. He asked her and found out that it was video evidence of the day the two of them were at the suspension bridge. It turned out that the prophetess had secretly filmed the video for her and sent it to her. However, Nak-gu thought that Marie was just threatening him. Afterwards, the two of them went to see their own lawyers. They called each other and watched the video recording of the incident on the suspension bridge that day. An amazing scene unfolded. Before Marie could move towards Nak-gu, he suddenly ran towards her and strangled her. This action was intended to push her into the river. She used all her strength to push him away. That's why he was so scared and stepped back, tripping. As a result, he fell into the river. He was the one who attempted murder. Marie's lawyer said that if Nak-gu was guilty of both slander and attempted murder, he would be imprisoned for the rest of his life. Nak-gu was very scared when he heard this. He immediately agreed to divorce Marie, but he did not forget to propose dividing the assets in half. Mari said that Nakgu's search and rescue police force had more than 50 people. If he was prosecuted for wasting police resources, his crimes would be compounded, so she asked him to give her all his assets, including custody of their daughter and alimony. Nakgu immediately agreed, but Mari asked him to give her a sincere apology. Nakgu knelt down and admitted that it was all his fault. Mari and Nakgu finally officially divorced. Seeing Mari looking happy, Nakgu asked her if this was something to be happy about. Of course, Nakgu couldn't laugh when he had lost his house and custody of his children. Mari looked at her ex-husband in a friendly manner and held out her hand. She suggested that if it was convenient, they could have a meal together. Then Mari and her two best friends got in the car and enjoyed it. A happy free life. The drama ended here. Thank you for your attention and watching. Goodbye, and see you again.